Now we are going to start the reading of the chapter. The first day in the land of apples was a bitter cold one. If you just remember, we are going to start with the first article which we have discussed in our previous video about the cutting off my long hair by Jitkala Sa. The first day in the land of apples was a bitter cold one, for the snow still covered the ground and the time were and the trees were bare without any leaves. There were no leaves because of the cold winter. A large bell rang for breakfast. It was the time in the morning for the breakfast, its loud metallic voice crashing through the belfry over the towers overhead and into our sensitive ears. The annoying clatter, the noise of the shoes on bare floors gave us no peace. The constant crash of harsh noises with an undercurrent of many voices murmuring an unknown tongue made a bedlam. Bedlam means the uproars and confusion which we are not able to understand who is speaking and what, with which I was securely tied, and though my spirit tore itself in struggling, I was not able to decide what to do for its lost freedom, because I was going to lose my freedom, my independence, my individuality, all was useless. A pale faced woman, a lady who was mature enough, aged enough, she was weak very, so she was having the pale face with white hair, came up after us. We were placed in a line of girls who were marching into the dining room. There was the line of the girls. We all were coming towards the dining room. These were Indian girls in stiff shoes and closely clinging. Very tight dresses they were wearing. The small girls wore sleeved aprons and shingle cut hair. They were having very short hair. As I walked noiselessly in my soft moccasins, moccasins are known as the shoes which don't make any sound, moccasins, I felt like sinking to the floor, for my blanket had been stripped from my shoulder. Everything I was in front of all. I looked hard at the Indian girls who seemed not to care. There were more Indian girls, those who were dressed very immodestly, and they didn't bother about it. So, in their tightly fitting clothes, while we marched in, we entered inside. The boys entered at an opposite side. I watched for the three young brave who came to our party. They were the freshers like us. I spied them in the rear ranks. I was just trying to look at them to find out something, looking as uncomfortable as I felt. So I felt they were all feeling uncomfortable as I am feeling, being the new over here. A small bell was tapped. There was a ring, and each of the people drew a chair from under the table. It was the morning time for the breakfast, and it was a manner how to use the table, chair in a dining room. Supposing this act meant they were to be seated, I pulled out mine and at once slipped into it from one side. So I thought it was the bell to sit. So I pulled out my chair from the table and tried to sit. But when I turned my head, I saw that I was only one seated and all rest of the table remained standing. Other they were standing as it is. Just as I began to rise, I felt embarrassed. I should get up because all are standing. As I was trying to rise, looking slyly, very shamefully, nervously, in a nervous manner around to see how chairs were to be used, because I don't know those manners, how the chairs were to be used. Meantime, a second bell was sounded, another bell was rung. All were seated at last, because the second bell meant to sit down. They all seated, and I had to crawl back into my chair again. I heard a man's voice at one end of that hall, because it was a long hall. So many tables were joined to make a long chain of the tables, and at the end of that chain, a man was sitting. He was speaking something. I heard the voice and I looked around to see him, but all the others hung their heads over their plates, because it was a gesture, it was a manner. Maybe they were all praying to God before starting the eating, I caught the eyes of the pale faced woman upon me. When I tried to look at the man, what he was seeing, I caught the sight of the pale faced woman. She was instinctively looking at me. Immediately, I dropped my eyes, wondering. I was shocked, I was surprised why I was so keenly, so interestedly, so deeply watched by that strange woman. The man ceased. He stopped his muttering. Whatever he was speaking, he stopped it, and then a third bell was tapped. Everyone picked up his knife and fork and began eating. I began crying instead because I didn't know the manner to eat with fork and knife. For by this time I was afraid of the venture and anything more, and something more was going on in my mind. I was afraid of that also. But this eating by formula was not a hardest trial in that first day. Late in the morning, my friend Jodavin gave me a terrible warning. He told me something, and it was more than a warning for me. Jodavin knew a few words of English, and she had overheard. She had listened the pale faced woman talk about cutting her long heavy hair. So she has heard the lady was talking about that the hairs of these new girls are to cut. My mother had taught us because she believes the religion, the culture. My mother taught us that only the unskilled warriors who were captured had their hair shingled by the enemy. If there are prisoners of wars, they used to wear the shingled hair as a punishment. Among our people, short hair was worn by the mourner. And moreover, we think the short hairs, if there is a death, some tragedies there at home, so people wear the short hairs. So, and shingle hairs by cowards. We discussed our fate some moment. We friends talk about it. And when Jordan said she was trying to convince me, we have to submit, she said. We are weak. We have to surrender because they are strong. I rebelled. But I told, Galasa said no. I told I will try my level best. I will struggle for my independence, my freedom.